You hear a lot, you read a lot, but do you know a lot about teenagers?
Teenagers these days don't respect their parents. Teenagers these days will just decide to do what they like.
So they'll be wherever they think they can't be seen or not found easily, and with enough exits. In case somebody sees them, they can split up and not all get caught.
It's a general attitude, more of an actual behaviour that's extremely bad.
Some teenagers, most of them are gremlins. Can't stand them.
You see, like, the boys just like slap the girls hard, and they're just acting like animals with each other all the time.
Why they got a bad name? I don't know. Society these days, isn't it? Just all the madness that happens nowadays. Killing, fights, troublemaking, and stuff like that.
When they say crime and they say robberies and stuff like that, most of the time it will be the younger group that is doing it, the younger group that are doing more of the exciting crimes and like robberies and stuff like that. So they will get stigmatized for it, where they've been seen to do it the most.
Like many young people, they'll just meet together, they say they're in a gang or whatever they call it, and they go smash people's windows and they commit so many different atrocities.
The worst examples that I could say at the moment that are being shown about kids is gun crime and knife crime. Those are the two worst subjects that are being put up against kids right about now.
Gone bad over friend got stabbed 4 or 5 times. I've been stabbed. Lost my friend over that. People are fighting over silly stuff. No money, basically. It's all over money. That's why people are dying. It's all money.
People assume that people do this for the fun of it, but really and truly it's not for the fun of it, it's because they're trying to get by in life as well as people already trying to get by in life with a normal job.
I'm just going to ask you random questions, innit? What do you think about young people generally getting into trouble in the streets and that kind of stuff?
It's normal, innit? I don't know, man.
What do you mean it's normal?
It's normal, innit?
What, so robbing people and that's normal?
Yeah, how's everyone meant to get their money?
How are they meant to get their money?
Yeah, how's people meant to get their money? People who ain't got hookups to jobs and shit. How they meant to get their money?
So, because they ain't got jobs, that's the only way to get money, by robbing people and stuff like that?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
It's a hungry world.
It's a hungry world.
It's another hungry world. It's hungry, innit?
Our schools are getting increasingly ghettoised because we have all these league tables. If you have a school that's near the bottom of the league table, then parents who are really proactive about their children's welfare and education are not going to send their kids to the school at the bottom. They're going to work hard to get some choice to send them to the better school. So the worst schools get all the kids whose parents don't care. So the results go down again, and it carries on as a kind of negative feedback with the school going down and down and down. If you think of what a comprehensive school should be, you should have kids from all different backgrounds learning to be with one another, but you don't. You end up getting all the kids from more difficult backgrounds and the lower economic classes all bundled together with no role models.
Your first drink was probably between 12 and 15. Typically, it would be, in your generation, between 12 and 15.
I think the kids these days are growing much faster than they did before. There's not much for them to do, so they progress more and they get onto whatever their bigger sisters or older brothers are doing.
We do get from time to time people who are clearly under the age of 18 coming in and trying to buy alcohol. I'd say at least twice a week.
Underage drinking is on a rise at the moment because most of the kids these days haven't got nothing to do. To go to an off licence and spend £10 and get smashed between you and 5 of your friends seems like a great idea.
Sometimes the boys, or the young men, can be a little bit aggressive, they might swear. Occasionally they got spatter, so not good.
Your generation is more likely than mine to be exposed to alcohol.
Going out, trying to buy vodka or something, standing outside drinking it because you can't drink in a pub. I mean, I think that's very dangerous.
it's a time when you're making that transition from being a child to being an adult, so you're trying out lots of different things, experimenting with different identities, different kind of attitudes and ways of relating to the world. So it's a very dynamic time for the teenager, and there are a lot of dangers in that, whether it be through sex, drugs, violence, confrontation with other teenagers, because that's the other thing. Teenagers are the groups of people most likely to have confrontation with each other.
Me and my friend, three other friends, was down Holloway, and we were just going to the bus stop. Then I think about 5 other girls came up to us. They separated us into 2, so it was 2-2. They was getting kind of rude to us, and I was just like, I want to slap these girls, all this and all that. And I had my phone, and then I had £1.50. She took the £1.50, and then she took the phone as well. And then she put it up her sleeve or she hid it somewhere. A few weeks later they caught one of the girls and she had to do like community services and all this and all that, and she got punished and she got arrested.
A lot of young offenders haven't had a decent education. A lot of them will have left school when they were 11 just because they had learning disabilities, but instead of anyone trying to address that and help them fit into education, they just got kicked out of school. A lot of them come from broken homes, haven't actually ever had a stable family, and have been put through one care home after another without any stable support. So that sort of stable support is really necessary, as well as a lot of them have mental health issues which they don't really get help for. They just get stuck in prison.
The way teenagers act, they get it from the media most likely, that are out there not to give a good message to teenagers, but they're just out there to promote themselves and to make themselves rich.
Media is there to lie.
Media, from what the media has been telling everyone, that's what I think makes everyone most scared of teenagers these days.
They say things more severely bad than originally it is, and they make things up.
There does seem to be a predominant culture in the 3 schools I've worked at, both in South London and in North London, which is the one which the adults attack nowadays. And I mean, let's be honest, these teenagers haven't gathered together and decided on a culture or a society. They've imported it, they've learnt it. It's been given to them. And people should have told them differently.
People, without the media, we won't know what's going on in the world. But with media, it's causing trouble to the world.
I put it purely at the doorstep of the adults, and the fact that they do not challenge that behaviour or create role models or ambition in these teenagers.
If a teenager doesn't understand what respect is all about, they will never respect anybody.
It's the oldest people's fault for not getting enough jobs for the younger people. Because sometimes we could be waiting 7 months, 8 months, 9 months for a job. What, you're going to go 9 months without a job, 9 months without money?
There is a very large percentage of young people in prison that have 1 or 2 parents in prison. If the person who's meant to be looking after you is in prison, then there's not that many options for you.
Mommy and daddy don't stick together like me and my wife. You know what I say? The proper way and grow them the proper way, you get me? Yeah, man. If the parents them was like me, if every parents was like me, or most parents like me, yeah man, kids would have grown proper. Not all kids just do bad things. I know a lot of kids that do positive things. A lot of kids do things that they want to do. A lot of them still try to live dreams and not just do what everyone else does.
When I go shopping with friends, quite often I'm followed around the shop because they think that us teenagers are going to jack stuff. When I'm actually in the shop just to buy stuff, we get followed around and looked around by the security guards.
People think, based on the way you dress or look, that you're dangerous or suicidal.
Generally, when I'm walking down the street with a big group of my friends, I feel people give me dirty looks.
Once there was loads of teenagers outside my house and the neighbours saw, and because there were so many of them, they called the police, and the police was like, oh, because there's so many of you, adults tend to get intimidated.
You hear a lot, you read a lot, but do you know a lot about teenagers? It's hard to pick up a paper without reading a story about teenagers getting worse. But what about all the other stuff that goes on? Like playing games, volunteering and making things. Just because you don't see it happening does not mean it's not happening. The papers only print bad stuff because it's more interesting to read. So next time you see a gang of teenagers, try thinking that maybe they're not a gang. Maybe they're just friends. Teenage years are confusing times, but it's not made any easier by being stereotyped and looked down on. You can be a good role model for teenagers around you. So next time you meet a teenager, talk to them like they're a person, and they'll probably behave like one, because that's what they are.